It's time for all the news you need and more. Brookland is Live starts right now.
And a good day to all of you. Time now 2 p.m. Central Time, 12 p.m. over on the West Coast, 3 p.m. on the East Coast. It's good to be with you. My name is Jackson Mitchell. I'll be with you throughout the next hour right here on Brookland News Live as we bring you the latest and all of the headlines, all of the news you need, and so much more. I want to take you to a shot we're getting in right now because in just moments we do expect President Donald Trump to hold a signing ceremony from the White House, and it appears that event has actually just begun within the last few moments or so. Let's go live there and listen in.
That were transshipped through the United States to other foreign countries would be subject to that 25% tariff. But those are two executive actions that the president reviewed shortly before you all came in.
So they're going to sell chips, basically, and it's a chip. It's not the highest level, but it's a very good level. And China wants them, and other people want them, and we're going to be making 25% on the sale of those chips, basically. So we're allowing them to do it, but the United States is getting 25% of the chips in terms of the dollar value, and I think it's a very good deal, great deal. They're taking billions of dollars, and they've done a fantastic job. But it's not the Blackwell or the Rubin; those are the two top. But it's a very good chip, and people want it, and we think it's in our best interest to do. And we have some other little things to talk about. Maybe we'll start that first. Should I start that first? I think they're going to want me to. I have a feeling they're going to want me to. We have been notified, and pretty strongly, but we'll find out what that all means. But we've been told that the killing in Iran is stopping, and it's stopped, and it's stopping. And there's no plan for executions or an execution or executions. So I've been told that on good authority. We'll find out about it. I'm sure if it happens, we'll all be very upset, including you will be very upset, but that's just gotten to me, some information that the killing has stopped, that the executions have stopped. They're not going to have an execution, which a lot of people were talking about for the last couple of days. Today was going to be the day of execution. And another piece of information that I think is very important is the leaker has been found and is in jail right now. And that's the leaker on Venezuela. A very bad leaker. So there could be some others, and we'll let you know about that. We're out on their trail. But the leaker has been found, and the leaker's in jail. And we'll probably be in jail for a long time. Let's see what happens. So we'll let you know. We'll keep you apprised as to what's going to happen with that. And I want to thank all of the incredible people behind me, political people, both Republicans and Democrats, because they like whole milk. Whether you're a Democrat or a Republican, whole milk is, right? Is a great thing. The senator was in the office many years ago. It feels like many years ago, but quite a while ago, right at the beginning of my first term.
Yeah, with Elijah Cummings.
Right, with Elijah, a very good person. You and I had a good relationship with him. At that time, I think you were a congressman, and you've made a lot of progress. You've done very well.
Some would disagree.
No, I don't disagree. I think you did a great job. But it's great to have you here again.
Thank you.
Appreciate it. So today I'm delighted to sign the Whole Milk for Healthy Kids Act into law, which is a very important thing for our farmers, and I think maybe more important for our people, right? The people that drink milk. This is the first bill signing of the new year, and it will ensure that millions of school-aged children have access to high-quality milk as we make America healthy again. I want to thank Secretary of Agriculture Brooke Rollins, who's behind me, Secretary of Health and Human Services Robert F. Kennedy Jr., Senators John Boozman and Mike Crapo, Roger Marshall, Peter Welch, as well as Representative G.T. Thompson and Tim Walberg, all great people. Also with us today is USDA National Nutrition Advisor Dr. Ben Carson, my friend for a long time. We went head to head, and it was not easy going head to head with Ben. He's like, great. He still looks good. That's because he drinks a lot of milk. And some of our nation's wonderful dairy farmers and their children, they're going to be farmers for a long time, we hope. As it currently stands, schools participating in the National School Lunch Program are only able to offer students low or non-fat milk options. That was changed during the Obama administration, and a lot of people disagreed with it at the time. With this legislation, schools will finally be able to expand their offerings to include nutritious whole milk. It's actually a legal definition, whole milk, and it's whole with a W for those of you that have a problem. Most of the media will get that. This is the perfect follow-up to the new real food pyramid, and Secretary Kennedy and Secretary Rollins announced that last week. You probably heard. This legislation also allows parents to directly request a substitute for milk for children with dairy intolerance. Previously, parents were required to submit a written statement from a doctor, but we're eliminating that rather ridiculous policy, allowing parents to choose what is best for their child, which is a big move. Hard to believe that that would be a big thing, but it is. And of course, these changes will be major victories for the American dairy farmers, who we love and who voted for me in great numbers, I will say. I think I got every one of them. In December, I also signed the Secure Rural Schools Reauthorization Act, and I'm proud to say that these two pieces of legislation will give school-age children across the country the resources and support that they need, not just to succeed, but really to thrive in life and later on in life. So I want to ask Secretary Rollins to say a few things, and then I'd like to ask Secretary Kennedy and Dr. Congressman if they'd like to say something. I'd be honored. So, Brooke, do you want to start?
Yes, sir. Thank you. And what a joy and an honor it is to be here. I feel like I have the best job in the world with representing all of these farmers. And Mr. President, not in our lifetime, has been a president who loves and supports our farmers more, and certainly the dairy farmers. I want to thank all of our farmers here today, sir. Most of them are 5th and 6th generation. They represent states from all across our country, and bringing the children to and seeing what the next generation of dairy farmers looks like. The amazing thing is some of these farmers back here from Butler, Pennsylvania, he milks.
Where?
Butler, Pennsylvania.
I love Butler. I do.
Yeah, and they love you. They love you. But he milks about 40 to 60 cows. And then we have Jamie from Wisconsin, who milks about 5,000 cows. So they represent all across the spectrum.
Wow.
And what this means. And I think it's important to note that in the last year, your support for these American farmers, for rural America, the One Big Beautiful bill was the largest investment in rural America in history. I think that's important to note. The trade, and I see my friend Jameson Greer over there and Howard Letnick on this end. We've opened up more than 24 different markets. Milk exports, dairy exports are up 23% just in the last year. And when you think about the ag deficit that happened under Joe Biden and the 4 years, we went from a surplus of agriculture products when we left the first time to a $50 billion deficit when we came back.
Yep.
So these are massive, massive wins for America, and I think it's important to note that. I also want to note, and you said it as well, that over a decade ago, Michelle Obama, in this very room, made an announcement on a short-sighted campaign to ditch the whole milk in schools, and that's what we're working to fix today. Last week, Bobby Kennedy and Ben Carson and Dr. Oz and the whole crew, sir, announced the Dietary Guidelines for Americans 2025 to 2030, which also reintroduced full-fat dairy into a healthy diet. And today, by signing this bill, Senator Marshall and Congressman Thompson and both, all the wonderful men to the right who worked so hard on this, Peter Welsh, it is a bipartisan issue, and understanding where we are in this country and how important the health of certainly our children are is so important. USDA is posting today the guidance. So we're signing the bill, and USDA, we're moving at Trump time, is posting today the new rulemaking that is necessary to get whole milk back into school lunches. So that's a really, really big deal
So how
too.
long will that take?
It should just take a few weeks, and then the milk starts moving in. So it's a big announcement, sir, for our schools and our children. And I know Secretary Kennedy will talk a little bit about the health issues, so I won't do that. I'll skip over that. You mentioned, and the last thing I'll say, I know we're here to sign the bill on whole milk, but Senator Crapo's work and our wonderful friend Doug LaMalfa, who we lost way too soon,
Right.
their work on securing Rural Schools Reauthorization Act, how important that too is for rural America. 700 eligible rural counties across the nation are now guaranteed funds for schools and roads and infrastructure. So sir, you say it all the time, those are your people. They voted for you and with us and saw your vision from the beginning. This is who we're here to support today, in addition to the whole milk for healthy schools, which will help all children. Just remember, eat real food and drink whole milk. What a joy again it is to be here, and I especially want to thank all of our incredible farmers for what you do. So sir, with that, I'll turn it over to Secretary Kennedy.
And just before you do that, how are we doing with food prices, bringing them down?
Yes, sir. Well, I'm glad you asked, because I brought a chart, and that just happened to be right behind me. So speaking of milk, milk is actually way down, and I know we're here to talk about that today. Obviously,
44%.
That's right, sir.
44% down. Milk, 44% down.
Eggs is way down, milk is way down. This is just since we took office, sir. Fresh whole chicken down 2%, cheese down, tomatoes down, butter down. Of course, eggs are way down, potatoes down almost 3%, fresh fruits down almost 3%. But this is just the beginning. And as we continue to bring the cost of farming down, bring the cost of inputs down, open up the markets, support our farmers, we'll see even more affordability moving forward.
And eggs are down 31%, so that's really something. Where's Bobby?
Bobby's right here.
Right here, Mr. President.
Go ahead, wherever you are. Go ahead. Good to see you. We like Bobby.
And I want to echo what Brooke said about finally having a president that sees the alignment between farm prosperity,
That's right.
good food policy, and health of our children. These are common sense associations. Democrats have been talking about them for eons. Republicans have been talking about them. We finally have a president that is implementing these policies and getting real food to our children. Today, President Trump signs the Whole Milk for Healthy Kids Act of 2025, a long overdue correction to the school nutrition policy that puts children's health first. For years, Washington treated fat, especially saturated fat, as the enemy. It made a war on saturated fat. This is the peacetime president. He's made it 8.5 deals ending wars, and he's also ended the war on saturated fat. As a result, whole and 2% milk disappeared from school menus, even though science has never shown that whole milk harms children. Evidence increasingly shows the opposite. The panoply of nutrients in whole milk is critical to brain development and physical development in our children. Whole and 2% milk provide 13 essential ingredients critical for growth, development, immune system function, and overall health, including protein, calcium, vitamin D, and healthy fats. Yet since these milk options were removed more than a decade ago, school milk consumption and meal participation have declined dramatically. Today, between 68% and 94% of school-age boys and girls fail to meet recommended dairy intake, according to federal guidelines. And schools limit milk choices, the kids do not move to healthier substitutes. They move to caffeinated drinks, to sugar drinks, and to sweetened beverages with little or no nutritional value and the potential to wreak havoc on metabolic health, which is driving the chronic disease epidemic in our country. During the same period that whole milk was regulated out of lunchroom, rates of childhood obesity and diabetes rose significantly. Removing whole milk did not improve health, it damaged it. Thanks to President Trump's leadership, this law fixes that mistake. It allows schools in the National School Lunch Program to offer whole, reduced fat, low fat, or fat-free, flavored or unflavored, organic or conventional. It restores choice to schools, parents, and students, and encourages consumption of nutrient-dense foods that kids will actually drink. The law also removes unnecessary bureaucracy by allowing parents or legal guardians to request milk substitutes without the necessity of involving a doctor. And it corrects a flawed technical rule by excluding fluid milk from saturated fat calculations that distorted school menus. Milk fat is not junk food. Treating it that way undermined nutrition and ignored the science. Last week, Secretary Rollins and I unveiled President Trump's new food pyramid and updated our dietary guidelines with a clear message: eat real food. This law puts that principle into action. As Secretary of Health and Human Services, I support this reform because it aligns federal policy with evidence-based nutrition, not ideology or dogma. Healthy kids need real food. They need real protein. They need healthy fats, and they need policies grounded in reality and the science. I want to thank President Trump again for his vision, for signing this bill, for continuing to put children's health first. This is exactly the kind of practical change that will make America healthy again.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you, Bobby. We have some milk here. It's been sitting here for 5 days, so. It's from the original bottle, and I brought it so the press can have some. You can swig it all out of the Remember the old days when we were kids, everybody shared a bottle? Today we tend not to do that, but if you'd like to, if you trust the person that you're drinking after, it's right here. It's yours, okay? It's semi-fresh, 5-6 days old. Thank you. So Ben Carson, special man, knows a lot about health. He looks better than ever. So Ben, how about it?
Well, thank you, Mr. President. Thank you for being interested in the health of the people. It's made a big difference in facilitating an atmosphere where the agencies can work together. Secretary Rollins, Secretary Kennedy, Marty McCary, Dr. Oz, the whole group, every week at least meeting once to talk about these things, and it's made a big difference. And I want to thank the dairy farmers. I know you guys have been in the doghouse for a little while. You're out of the doghouse as of today. Yes, sir. And, whole milk is a wonderful beverage. Good protein. We talk about real food. It is real food. Healthy fats, important nutrients. You look at vitamin D, you look at calcium, phosphorus, the things that are absolutely essential for bone development and for teeth. But as a neurosurgeon, the thing I really like is the brain, what it does for the brain. Right. The brain starts to develop right after conception and adds millions of neurons every single day. Continues to do that right up until the mid to late 20s. Now, it's important what that brain is getting during the development. Is it getting soda or is it getting milk?
So milk would help your cognitive ability.
Absolutely. You can tell who's been
Take a
drinking
cognitive test. I've taken a lot of them. I've aced every one of them because I drink milk.
It's good for it, and it shows.
Do you consider there to be a big difference in taste between what you are having and this is just, it just looks so good sitting there, right?
Yes, sir.
It looks better. They stick. Go ahead, Ben, sorry to interrupt you.
When you go to school and you give the kids milk, real milk, they love it. When you pour this stuff that looks like, dish pan water, they don't particularly want that. It doesn't taste good either. So this is a great day. It's only a part of what's happening with our emphasis on health. Our longevity has been going down, and other industrialized nations it's been going up. And it's because we haven't been paying attention to this. That has changed, and we want to thank you for your leadership.
Well, thank you very much, Ben. Appreciate it. Appreciate all you've done, too, for the country. I'd like to ask a few of our senators to say a couple of words. Maybe we should start with the Democrat in our midst. What do you think?
Peter Welch.
How about Peter Welch? And, thank you very much for being here, Peter.
No, thank you. Our dairy farmers are so vitally important, and they have a way of life that transmits from one generation to another, and it's tougher than ever for our dairy farmers in Vermont, our dairy farmers in Pennsylvania and others, South Carolina or here, but they're the lifeblood of the community. Nobody works harder, and nobody does things that are better for our nutrition. And also for our kids, I'm in agreement. The kids having access to healthy milk is good milk, whole milk, is really good for them. And one of the things that I get very excited about, that really the Vermont farmers talked about, is they have their milk from their farm that then goes directly to many of our schools. And then kids come out to the farms.
Alrighty, you've been listening in there to multiple speakers from Senator Peter Welch you're listening to right now, from President Trump to Ben Carson to the Agricultural Secretary and the Health and Human Services Secretary there. We're going to continue monitoring this event when the president begins to take questions. If he does during this hour that we're going to be here with you, we will take you there. As again, the president expected to sign this bill, holding a ceremony right now at the White House, signing a bill that will allow whole and 2% milk back into schools. So we'll continue to monitor that story and what happens there. As again, multiple senators speaking there. We'll continue to keep our eyes peeled on what is happening over, excuse me, at the White House. So I want to take you right now to one of the few other stories we are following. Uh, Take you right now to these Iran protests. They have been sparked really just throughout the whole country. You heard the president at the beginning there saying the arrests are over there and that the killings are over. That's at least what the president said there. We do have video of this that I just want to play for you if we can. Give me one moment and I will play that for you. Here's some video showing you just a look at these protests. So again, I mean, just the fire there showing, of course, the country there is against all of this. The country experiencing massive nationwide protest against the Islamic Republic leadership. It's driven by economic, oh my gosh, I'm gonna get it out there, hardship and repression. The U.S. has supported these protests throughout the entire way. I heard the president even talking about it there for just a few moments. Excuse me, I've messed up that graphic that you just saw on your screen. It should be right just about now. There we go. So reports again telling us about all of this. Of course, we're not inside the country, but we do have the video that we're showing you right now and so much more that is leading to all of this. The U.S. cautiously supporting the protesters while withdrawing some personnel from the Middle East. That's the new development that we have coming in today, that the U.S. is in fact going to take back a few of those personnel that they had inside the Middle East amid those tensions and Iranian threats of retaliation. We're also learning earlier today, according to multiple news sources, that Iranian leadership is essentially, and I'm paraphrasing here, saying to President Trump that this time the bullet will actually hit really an assassination threat. Of course, they're referring back to the 2024 in July, the attack on his life, the assassination attempt back then. Now they're saying the bullet's actually going to hit this time. That's from Iran, of course. We've continually noted that, the U.S. is in fact supporting these protests. You heard the president at the beginning of that meeting today saying that they are going to, in fact, the arrest rather have stopped. There's just a look at more of that video showing you what appears to be protesters, and then you have people going against them. Maybe can't quite tell from this shot that we're getting. So this is going to be something, a story we're going to keep our eyes peeled on. That is for sure. We're going to keep it quickly here on the international front because we are learning some more information about the future of immigration here in the US, and that's going to take us to Minnesota in just a few moments. But first, here's what we're going to do. Sneak in a quick break. We are going to continue to monitor this live shot right here over at the White House. As soon as the president begins taking questions, we'll take you back there. In the meantime, a quick commercial break. Brookland News Live returns here in just a few moments. Welcome back here into Brooklyn News Live. Just about top of the half hour here. 2:30 here. We're waiting for the president to take questions. Noted just before the break. As soon as he does, we'll take it there live. A look live there back at the White House as we await for this all to begin. As soon as it does, we will take you there. A lot of action, a lot of things we're watching right now. Want to talk about the future of immigration here in the U.S. And by doing that, I want to take you to another feed that we got in from just a few moments ago. Officials in Minneapolis, they were speaking out. If you'll give me just a moment, I'll perfect this feed so we can show you. This was really at the top of the hour, right before President Trump started speaking. Minnesota leaders, they're speaking out after the killing of Renee Good. Trump now threatening that funding nationally funding federally, I should say, will be taken away to these from these states that are what they're calling states that are allowing illegal immigrants to come in. So the killing of Renee Good, if you remember, we covered it last Friday. It was when Renee Good, one video appeared to show her ram her vehicle into an ICE agent. Other angles of this video don't quite show that. But in the midst of all that, there was kind of a dispute between her and an ICE agent. That ICE agent ultimately ended up firing after she kind of moved her vehicle. She kind of sped off. Again, as I just at some angles showing different things here. President Trump now saying federal funding will be cut for states like this. Of course, this all amid a major welfare fraud scandal. Minnesota, again, having those major allegations. So we're going to continue to follow all of this. I want to let's go to this video I was just showing you. There were some at one moment in time where the press was able to ask some questions. So that's where I want to get to. Let's play this video. This is from just moments ago. This is Minneapolis leaders, I should say, speaking about what everything looks like now. Let's take a look there.
What percentage or how many of the claims reviewed by Optum had further red flags? Like had issues, caused further, longer, problematic? Like what percentage from that audit? What was the results of it essentially?
Sure. So this is going to be a technical answer, but I'm going to do my best. So essentially, we had the first 2-week cycle of billing, subject to the new enhanced prepayment review process. And of the findings from that audit, very few claims, literally a dozen or 20 claims, were rejected as a result of analysis done. So Optum flagged claims, and then our policy and program staff went through and reviewed those claims, depending on their expertise in the service line, and determined whether or not there was an enduring concern with the claim. And very few were ultimately rejected after that review. I should note, we're starting with a smaller number of analyses that Optum is running to get the process started. So there will be more analyses run against the claims as the weeks go by, or the different cycles of billing go by here. So there will likely be more claims flagged because of the additional tests or analyses applied to them. So I don't want to, set false expectations that we're only going to have 20 claims flagged each time. We will likely have more, given the more tests that will apply to the claims as we go forward. This was just kind of a beta run here to get going and to start the process. And claims submitted and that were approved and not denied up to December 23rd in that first warrant cycle, the first claim cycle here, that 2-week cycle that was subject to the prepayment review process. Those were released for payment yesterday.
And for those people that got the approval in the first round of spot checks, essentially, their payments will now continue uninterrupted.
So, yes. So if they have unflagged claims, if there aren't concerns with the claims and they're eventually within the 2-week period approved, there will be a biweekly payment cycle now going forward. We just had a 2-week pause to initiate the process, both to start, there has to be some time for Optum to review the claims, and then also some time for our staff to review after we receive the claims analysis results, and also to do some systems upgrades to align with the new prepayment review process.
When will DHS pay the claims that were issued between the 23rd and the 25th? There's a delay, so when are those going to be paid out, and how many?
Alrighty, this from just about last hour. There are Minneapolis questions being asked to Minneapolis leaders. Of course, after the killing of Renee Good, now federal funding being taken away. I want to play the moment that Trump actually said that this funding would be taken away for sanctuary cities. Roll the clip.
Also suspended nearly 8,000 SBA loans, Small Business Association loans, to suspected scammers in Minnesota, of which there are many. It's a great state. It was a great state. Now it's getting destroyed by that stupid governor. What a stupid guy he is. But he's a crook. I mean, he's an incompetent guy, but he's a crook. He allowed this to go. You can't have corruption on a scale that nobody's ever seen before, and you're sitting as a governor and you don't know what's going on. It's impossible, even though he's a stupid guy. We're investigating large-scale visa fraud, and the Department of Justice has already charged nearly 100 people in criminal conspiracies in Minnesota. They're all over the place. Last week, we announced that I'm creating a brand new division at the Department of Justice, a legal strike force led by a really tough, smart new Attorney General for fraud. He's a fantastic.
President Trump there the other day, you heard him there talking about the future of sanctuary cities and what that could look like on that front. Of course, this follows a pretty big incident there in Minneapolis, as we've been talking about throughout the last few moments or now. So, future of U.S. immigration looming, of course. Trump recently issuing kind of this warning to Somali nationals, telling them essentially a deadline for them to leave the country. So, a lot of new developments. We're following every angle of it, and what happens next. We'll bring that to you. I want to take you right now to our shot we've been following over at the White House. President Trump now signing that bill that would allow for whole milk and 2% milk to be allowed back into schools. As we continue to follow that, we are also getting some more news in locally here. This just in, really within the last, I would argue, 10-20 minutes or so, we're just getting this news in. Please stand by with me as I get this pulled up for you guys. We are learning the city of Jonesboro has announced what the future looks like for their parks department, announcing a new parks director. This comes after the last one. Danny Caples, he was under investigation, put on administrative leave by the FBI, who's being investigated by, then would later resign from his position there. This Facebook post from the city of Jonesboro says Jonesboro Mayor Harold Copenhaver announced Jim Starnes has been named Director of Parks and Recreation. I'll just read this quote here quickly and then we'll go back to that live shot. Quote, Jonesboro Parks and Recreation Department is a focal point for our community, all of our families, and economy. Jonesboro is blessed to have a wide variety of offerings for both residents and visitors alike. Having gotten to know Jim over the past couple of months, I have full confidence that he will serve our community well and take great pride in our facilities. That's the Jonesboro Mayor Harold Copenhaver there. Goes on to list a little about his past, what kind of gives him the option to have this as a job. His education, saying he is a graduate of the Arkansas State University and holds a master's degree, with an emphasis in exercise science. His bachelor degree is in education. He's also a member of the Arkansas Association of Cardiovascular and Pulmonary Rehabilitation from 1998 to 2022. So, someone who, according to this post, they put it as he knows what he's talking about and he will be fit to serve this role again. Jonesboro reinstating a new parks director following the Danny Caples, I should say. He was put on an investigation by the FBI and then would later resign from that position. I want to take you right now. President Donald Trump is taking questions over at the White House. Let's go back live there. Listen in.
But we've been told on good authority, and I hope it's true. Who knows, right? Who knows?
We've
Crazy
seen the body
world.
bags, so how do you trust
No,
them?
you've seen that over the last few days, and they said people were shooting at them with guns, and they were shooting back, and it's one of those things. But they told me that there'll be no executions, and so I hope that's true.
Does this mean military action is now off the table against Iran?
Well, we're going to watch it and see what the process is, but we were given a very good statement by people that are aware of what's going on.
Is that still considering military action?
When they say no executions, everyone is talking about a lot of executions were taking place today. We were just told no executions. I hope that's true. That's a big thing. Yes, ma'am.
The foreign minister of Greenland, she said a while ago in a press conference in an embassy of Denmark that she made very clear in the meeting that happened here in the White House what are their limits. She also said that it was a very respectful meeting. Are those limits going to be respected?
Well, we're going to see what happens with Greenland. We need Greenland for national security, so we're going to see what happens. They're going to brief me on the meeting right after this conference. In fact, the sooner I get you out, the faster I'm going to know exactly what happened. But we have a very good relationship with Denmark, as you know. We'll see. But, we're doing the Golden Dome. We're doing a lot of things, and we really need it. If we don't go in, Russia's going to go in, and China's going to go in. And there's not a thing that Denmark can do about it, but we can do everything about it.
More in what they can do than
Well, we're going to see. I mean, look, we're going to see what happens, but we need it. I'm not the first one. This was talked about by President Truman, and 40 years before President Truman, they were talking about it. They've been talking about this for 100 years. This is not anything so new. A lot of people don't realize that, but this was a hot subject. Probably not as hot as it is now, but it was a hot subject for a long time. We need it for national security, and that includes for Europe. And I spoke with, as you know, Mark, the head of NATO, and he really wants to see something happen. It's very important for national security.
It's being reported that Health and Human Services released frozen funds to Planned Parenthood. I'm wondering why this happened and why Planned Parenthood is receiving any federal funds.
I don't know anything about that. Bobby, do you know anything about that?
What was the question?
It's being reported that frozen funds were released to Planned Parenthood in December by HHS. I'm wondering why that happened.
I haven't heard
I have
that.
not heard that.
I have not heard that.
Mr. President, on NATO, right now it sounds like you are saying that you would potentially acquire Greenland by force. That would be a NATO country.
Well, you're saying that.
Are you saying that? Would you do that?
No, you're saying that.
Would you
I
acquire
didn't
that
say
by
it.
force
No,
right
you're
now?
telling me that that's what I'm
I
going to
think
do.
we're-
You don't know what I'm going to do.
So what are the options?
Your
then?
network
Because
doesn't know
the-
either.
The Danish foreign minister said that there's still fundamental differences after the meeting with Rubio and with the vice president. Are you willing to leave the NATO alliance in order to get what you want with Greenland? What are the options right now?
Well, I wouldn't be telling you what I'm willing to do, certainly. I'm not going to give up options, but it's very important. Greenland's very important for the national security, including of Denmark. And the problem is, there's not a thing that Denmark can do about it if Russia or China wants to occupy Greenland. But there's everything we can do. You found that out last week with Venezuela. There's everything we can do about things such as that. Not going to happen. We're not, I can't rely on Denmark being able to fend themselves off. They were talking about they put an extra dog, and they were serious about this. They put an extra dog sled there last month. They added a second dog sled. That's not going to do the trick.
Denmark fought alongside the United States in both Afghanistan
Thank you
and
for telling me
Iraq.
that. I appreciate it.
But
I have a very good relationship with Denmark, and we'll see how it all works out. I think something will work out. Yeah.
Venezuela, Cabello, the de facto number 2 in Venezuela right now, he seemed pretty reluctant to work with the U.S. And obviously he's
With us? They just gave us 50 million
Cabello,
barrels of oil.
the number 2, the Venezuela security
I don't
chief.
know. The number 1, we just had a great conversation today, and she's a terrific person. I mean, she's somebody that we've worked with very well. Marco Rubio is dealing with her. I dealt with her this morning. We had a long call. We discussed a lot of things, and I think we're getting along very well with Venezuela. Yeah.
Mr. President, a new Assistant Attorney General position dedicated to rooting out fraud in
Yeah, he's fantastic. The person is fantastic.
Who is it?
It's a he.
When are you
I
gonna
will tell you maybe within minutes. I mean, I don't know if it's appropriate to say yet because we're going through a process, but we have chosen a person who's very tough, very smart, very fair.
You gave a speech yesterday in Michigan about how you've recalibrated the American economy to work for workers, U.S. auto factories. We've seen core inflation's completely tamed. You lowered the trade deficit to the lowest amount since 2009. American exports are growing, but we're also waiting on the Supreme Court case with the tariffs. Given the success that you've had in the first 12 months, what is at stake in this case,
It's
sir?
a little bit like whole milk. I can't believe we even have a case. This was a case started by very China-centric people and also anti-American people, frankly, people that don't want us to do well. Tariffs have helped us stop 8 wars. They've helped us get the best trade numbers we've ever had. They've helped us get $18 trillion brought into the country. And maybe above all else, they've given us tremendous national security. Just the threat of tariffs. You saw that just yesterday when I put tariffs on a certain country. We won't talk about that country, but you know who it is, based on the fact that if you do business with that country, you know, it's going to make them, it's going to bring them to the table a lot faster. So we have made hundreds of billions of dollars with tariffs. We have very little inflation. Think of it, inflation's gone down and productivity, everything has gone up. We've never taken in money like we have. We've never had anywhere near $18 trillion invested in our country, neither has any other country. It's the biggest number by maybe 5 times. 5 times, not 5%, 5 times. Nobody's ever seen numbers like this. We have plants going up. You know, you mentioned I was in Michigan yesterday. I was at the Ford plant where they make the Ford 150. It's one of the original plants. It was from before World War I. It's a giant plant. That plant was probably going to be closed. And 2 years ago, they were doing very poorly. And now they just announced yesterday that they're going to go 24 hours around the clock. 3 shifts, which they rarely do. That's Ford, and Ford's having the best numbers they've ever had. General Motors having the best numbers they've ever had. Stellantis, which hasn't been here, is now investing billions, tens of billions of dollars on building in the country. We're building auto plants all over the country. We're building AI all over the country. We're leading China by a lot, and a lot of it has to do with tariffs. That would be a very disappointing decision. And especially since the people that are fighting me are people that want China to do well. And we're doing great against China. We're doing great against everybody. We're the hottest country anywhere in the world. As I say often, we're right now the hottest country anywhere in the world. And a year and a half ago, we were a dead country. Thank you very much, everybody.
Thank you, press. Let's go. Thank you. Thank you, press. Let's go. Thank you. Let's go. Let's go. Thank you.
Thank you guys, thanks.
President Trump quickly taking questions there as we continue to watch this camera as it is fielded out of the room. Okay. There again, just moments ago, President Donald Trump speaking there, taking questions from the White House now, addressing a number of concerns that people were asking for the future of Iran as those protests continued. We talked about it a little earlier in the hour. Also, Trump saying, adding on the Greenland deal that, quote, we need Greenland for national security, unquote there. This comes after a meeting with Secretary of State Marco Rubio with leaders from leaders here from Denmark. Denmark, of course, essentially owns Greenland, to put it where it's kind of like how the U.S. has its states and then they have territories. Greenland is a territory of Denmark. So there you go. There is that. Give me one moment. I'm looking for something so I'm able to confirm some information. Here we go. The meeting was with Vice President Vance and Secretary Rubio with the Danish foreign minister and the Greenlandic foreign minister as well. Both of those, the Danish foreign minister Lars Løkke Rasmussen and Greenlandic foreign minister Vivan Modsvold, Motfeld. I'm not sure if I'm pronouncing that correctly. I'm sure I butchered both of those names. I apologize, but they had a press conference. It was ending just about the time we were all coming on the air. I want to play that for you just to bring in their perspective to all of this. Here you go.
Okay. Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen from the press. Minister Vivian Motzfeldt and I met with Vice President Vance and Secretary Rubio today. We came here following a number of, how should I put it, remarkable public comments on Greenland and Arctic security. Our aim was to find a joint way forward to increase Arctic security. What can the Kingdom of Denmark do more? What can US do more? What can NATO do more? The Kingdom of Denmark has already stepped up our own contribution by committing additional funds for military capabilities, not dock slates, but ships, drones, fighter jets, etc. And we are definitely ready to do more. The US has already a wide military access to Greenland. Under the 1951 Defense Agreement, the US can always ask for increasing its presence in Greenland, and therefore we wish to hear if the US had any further requests to make in this aspect. We would examine any such request constructively. Greenland is, through the Kingdom of Denmark, a member of NATO and has been that since the very founding of NATO in 1949 and is therefore also covered by Article 5. We have been pushing for quite a while in NATO for a stronger collective role in Greenland together with a number of allies, and we are eager to work with the US on advancing this agenda, and we are prepared to go further. Therefore, our aim was to find a common understanding on all these points and to launch, if possible, further in-depth work to deliver on them. On this basis, we had what I will describe as a frank but also constructive discussion. The discussions focused on how to ensure the long-term security in Greenland. And here our perspectives continue to differ, I must say. The President has made his view clear, and we have a different position. We, the Kingdom of Denmark, continue to believe that also the long-term security of Greenland can be ensured inside the current framework, the 1951 agreement on the defense of Greenland, as well as the NATO treaty. For us, ideas that would not respect territorial integrity of the Kingdom of Denmark and the right of self-determination of the Greenlandic people are, of course, totally unacceptable. And we therefore still have a fundamental disagreement, but we also agree to disagree. And therefore we will, however, continue to talk. We have decided to form a high-level working group to explore if we can find a common way forward. The group, in our view, should focus on how to address the American security concerns, while at the same time respecting the red lines of the Kingdom of Denmark. We expect that such a group will meet for a first time within a matter of weeks. And then I will pass the floor to my colleague from Greenland, Vivian Motzfeldt.
Thank you so much. Not repeating what already been said here, so I would like to say something in my own language, because there are many, many people in Greenland that follows, and for that, I hope that you will allow me. So, asasakka nunaqatikka naringira tamas marinnaasusi ullok uatsinnut bisanganarsimavok. Oqaati
Alrighty, the Danish Greenland foreign minister there speaking out. You heard there the Danish foreign minister specifically simply just saying that they kind of agree to disagree on a lot of things and continue to have fundamental disagreements on the acquiring of Greenland, something that the Danish government simply just doesn't want. The White House, though, they wanted Trump just saying he's not putting options off of the table in acquiring Greenland. We are going to sneak in another quick break here on Brooklyn News Live. Still so much to come as the hour is soon to end. Stick with us. We're back here in just a few moments. Welcome back here live into Brooklyn News headquarters right here in Brooklyn, Arkansas. Still good to be with you. I'm Jackson Mitchell. Time now 2:54 here Central Time as we continue to follow a number of headlines, including this one. The U.S. Justice Department says they are investigating Federal Reserve Chair Jerome Powell for potentially, I should say, misleading testimony about the Fed headquarters renovations. Powell and the Fed argued this is simply untrue and is politically motivated. Here is, I want to play this video. This is Federal Reserve Chair Powell. This is his statement just the other day. Play it.
Good evening. On Friday, the Department of Justice served the Federal Reserve with grand jury subpoenas, threatening a criminal indictment related to my testimony before the Senate Banking Committee last June. That testimony concerned in part a multi-year project to renovate historic Federal Reserve office buildings. I have deep respect for the rule of law and for accountability in our democracy. No one, certainly not the chair of the Federal Reserve, is above the law. But this unprecedented action should be seen in the broader context of the administration's threats and ongoing pressure. This new threat is not about my testimony last June or about the renovation of the Federal Reserve buildings. It is not about Congress's oversight role. The Fed, through testimony and other public disclosures, made every effort to keep Congress informed about the renovation project. Those are pretexts. The threat of criminal charges is a consequence of the Federal Reserve setting interest rates based assessment of what will serve the public, rather than following the preferences of the president. This is about whether the Fed will be able to...
Federal Reserve Chair Powell there essentially saying that this all was politically motivated there in that new video on the investigation. The investigation at this point in time still ongoing. No charges filed as of today. We're going to keep an eye on this story, as you just heard there, Federal Reserve Chair Jerome Powell speaking out on all of that as well. Okay, I want to turn right now to a pretty interesting story. Karen Reed, if you remember, she was accused of killing her Boston police officer boyfriend, John O'Keefe. She went through 2 trials. One was ultimately declared a mistrial. The second one went through. She was acquitted on the major charges. The only one she was found guilty on was operation of a vehicle under the influence. She's now speaking out for the first time since her acquittal. I want to play some video for you. Take a look here.
I have a job. I don't have a home anymore. I'm just kind of in no man's land. Every waking hour, I thought about my freedom and if I could lose it. And those feelings just don't disappear when foreman says not guilty.
Defendant not guilty or guilty?
The former financial analyst telling the Rotten Mango podcast her life after the verdict has not been easy.
I do feel I've had this delayed reaction to the persecution.
Prosecutors accused Reed of backing her SUV into O'Keefe and then driving away, leaving him to die in the snow. Heavy drinking. He never hit O'Keefe and Lawncy, which police have denied. The O'Keefe family has filed a wrongful death lawsuit against her, which she is fighting.
If any party to this thinks this is inflicting pain on me, you don't understand what I've been through and what I've survived and what I can handle.
Reed is living with her parents, and though she sold the rights to her life story to a Hollywood producer and is planning on writing a book with her criminal defense attorney Alan Jackson, she says she has yet to make any money.
I have not made anything, not a dime.
But one thing she says she's still coming to grips with is her...
That story there from Good Morning America over on ABC. So pretty interesting, the fact that she's now speaking out first just on all of this. But essentially, I mean, I was watching this case throughout the entire thing. And I was in Boston when she was found not guilty on those major charges and only on that lesser charge. The celebrations there were quite crazy. But also, I think that the evidence that the police had didn't not suggest that she wasn't guilty, but the defense gave enough of a, hey, put into question this investigation and that some parts of it may have been false, some parts were misaligned, and everything didn't align together. And the jury ultimately in this case saying, yeah, you weren't guilty. So Karen Reed now speaking out for the first time over on the Rotten Mango podcast by Stephanie Sue. I watched it last night. I wish I could show you more of it, but we are out of time. Remember, you can join me. I will not be here tomorrow, but I will be, nor Friday. Not tomorrow, nor Friday. I will be back Monday covering the latest headlines and what you need to know. That does it for us on this Wednesday, January 14th. Remember, you can follow us on all of our social media pages, appearing here in just a moment on your screen. Anyways, have a good day, guys.